Our story begins. As so many do in World War II Berlin, we find the Führer himself, Adolf Hitler, in a session with his behavior coach, a man named Keppel. Turns out, even dictators have branding issues. Hitler is passionately complaining that the public's greeting etiquette has gone down the toilet. He gripes that, even if the full-on Nazi salute is considered old-fashioned, the least people could do is raise their hands to the wrist to show a little respect. It's a tough life at the top. He then launches into a monologue about doing everything humanly possible to destroy the enemy, finding Germany's very existence incomprehensible. And just like that, with a flash and a fade, he wakes up, not in his bunker, but on the ground in a forest, face first in the dirt. He looks up at the sky, notices a distinct lack of enemy aircraft, and casually assumes they're on a coffee break. The man's optimism is truly unshakable. Suddenly, his quiet contemplation is interrupted by a bouncing soccer ball that stops right beside him, as if delivered by fate. He dusts himself off and heads towards a nearby building, only to be ambushed by a squad of 3 young kids who ask him if he's okay. Hitler looks at them with paternalistic pride, thinking to himself that these children are the future of the nation. He then asks them for directions to the nearest street. In a stroke of cosmic irony, a struggling reporter named Fabian Sawatsky is filming these very kids for a local news fluff piece and accidentally captures the Führer in the background. Hitler, oblivious, picks up his iconic army cap and mutters his next objective: get to the Führer bunker. A solid plan if you are not 70 years too late. Once he reaches the street, his mind is blown. People are zipping around on what look like electric unicycles, and he can't fathom it. He sees everyone pointing their strange, glowing rectangles at him. His conclusion: the rubble from the war is gone, but the people have clearly gone insane. He touches a modern car, sleek and alien, and a horrifying thought crosses his mind. Did he fall into a coma and somehow miss the final victory? Realizing he's completely out of his depth, he shifts into intelligence, gathering mode first mission, find the chancellery. He asks a passerby for directions, but instead of an answer, the guy just wants to take a selfie with him. Welcome to the 21st century, Adolf. He is immediately swarmed by people, blinded by camera flashes as everyone wants a picture with the world's most convincing Hitler cosplayer. Deeply confused, he concludes that something has gone terribly, terribly wrong here. You don't say. As he walks away, he spots a woman speaking German on her phone, an opportunity. He approaches and asks for the current date. Her reaction is not what he expected. She's utterly terrified and sprays him directly in the eyes with pepper spray. Crying in agony, vision blurred, he stumbles his way towards a nearby newspaper shop, desperately seeking answers. And there, on the front page of a newspaper, he sees it. The 3rd of October 2014. The shock is so profound that he collapses on the spot. Meanwhile, in a completely different world of corporate backstabbing, a television station boss named Karner is praising his deputy Christoph Sensenbrink. He teases a big promotion for Christoph, only to pull the rug out from under him and announce another colleague, Miss Cacciabellini, as the new managing director. Christoph is absolutely gutted. He storms back to his office and takes out his fury on the nearest available target, our poor, struggling filmmaker, Fabian. Despite Fabian's desperate pleas, he is unceremoniously fired and thrown out by security guards. It is just not his day. Sometime later, Hitler wakes up on the floor of the newsstand. He groggily asks the owner to confirm the date. Yes, it's still 2014. A confused Hitler immediately jumps to the most logical conclusion. He has been kidnapped by the enemy's secret service, and this is all an elaborate trick. He threatens to kill the shopkeeper if he's a spy, but the shopkeeper, completely unfazed, just offers him a chocolate bar. Hitler struggles to open the modern packaging, sniffs the contents suspiciously, and declares it to be industrially pressed grain. He is not entirely wrong. The shopkeeper, assuming he's a method actor for a documentary, remarks that he looks exactly like the Führer. Hitler then spots a Turkish newspaper and is utterly bewildered. He asks for proper German propaganda papers, but the shopkeeper explains he has more Turkish customers. The presence of a large Turkish community in Berlin is another reality-shattering blow. He decides to gather more intel from the papers. Reading the news, he deduces that not only did he not win the war, but Germany is now run by what he calls clumsy women having the charisma of a wet noodle. He also learns that Poland still exists, which leads him to the grim conclusion that the entire war was a total waste of time. Meanwhile, Fabian is at home, sobbing while watching his soccer footage, lamenting the loss of his job. A future YouTube career awaits. He just doesn't know it yet. His mother tries to comfort him and asks him to pause the video, when she suddenly spots a familiar mustachioed face in the background. Fabian rewinds, and his sadness turns to amusement. He has found a guy who looks so uncannily like Hitler. It is almost unbelievable. Back at the shop, the owner is getting tired of his method actor freeloader and tells Hitler to make himself useful and stand outside. He also suggests Hitler get his uniform cleaned because, To put it mildly, it stinks. So Hitler heads to a dry cleaner. He hands over his uniform, but then realizes a critical flaw in the plan. He has nothing else to wear. He clearly missed Germany's memo on casual nudity. Next thing we know, Hitler is walking back to the newsstand wearing jeans and a sweater. And honestly, Hitler's looking kinda bussin'. And who should be waiting for him but Fabian, who has managed to track him down. Seeing the man up close, Fabian is amazed by the resemblance. Fabian has a brilliant career-saving idea. He asks Hitler if he can film him as he, a perfect look-alike, marches through modern Germany. Hitler, ever the opportunist, agrees. Fabian borrows some cash and a car from his mom, and our bizarre road trip begins. They end up in a hotel, where Hitler is completely captivated by the television, a magical box of moving pictures he can't get enough of. Inspired, he decides to pivot Fabian's project towards politics. He starts going around, interviewing everyday Germans about their views. Through these interviews, he discovers that democracy hasn't exactly solved everything. He senses a familiar discontent and suppressed anger in the people. It reminds him of the 1930s, except now people have a fancy term for it: political disenchantment. People complain to him about immigrants, giving him the perfect opening to push his old toxic idea that mixing the races doesn't work. Later, in a moment of levity, Fabian asks about the origin of his unique mustache. Hitler explains he trimmed it that way to fit under a gas mask practical. The buddy-comedy vibes come to a screeching halt when they end up on a farm and Hitler gets bitten by a dog. Enraged, he pulls out a gun and shoots the animal. A horrified Fabian scolds him and confiscates the weapon, getting a stark reminder that this isn't just a quirky old actor he is dealing with. As the tour continues, Fabian runs out of cash, but he thinks on his feet and convinces passers-by to have their caricatures drawn by Hitler. Hitler, the failed art student, finally gets to showcase his creative side, drawing sarcastic pictures that people find hilarious and actually pay for. Back in town with newly filled pockets, Fabian shows a clip of his footage to Christoph. He has uploaded it to YouTube, and it has already got a ton of views. Christoph, seeing the viral potential, is impressed. He asks for Hitler's name and contact number, suddenly very interested. After a brief meeting, Christoph suspects Hitler is a dangerous lunatic and tells Fabian to get him out of his office immediately. But before they can leave, Hitler barges into the new director, Bellini's office, and boldly asks her to save Germany together with him. Intrigued by his sheer audacity and charisma, Bellini is all ears. She immediately asks her assistant to prep a television format for him. Sensing a shift in power, Fabian threatens to walk away with his viral star unless Christoph gives him his job back. Cornered, Christoph begrudgingly makes him a kitchen boy, with a vague promise of a promotion. Hey, it is better than nothing. Soon, Hitler is given his own desk at the television studio. Christoph assigns an assistant, Kromeyer, to help him with the computer. Hitler marvels at the technology, labeling it one of humanity's greatest inventions. When Kromeyer tries to create an email for him, she finds Adolf Hitler is already taken. He grumbles about identity theft and tells her to use Neureich Chancellery instead, as one does. Christoph, still salty about being passed over for the promotion, devises a plan. He is going to put Hitler on a live comedy show called Whoa Dude. His goal is to create a PR nightmare for Bellini by having Hitler tell offensive jokes, which will get him immediately thrown off the air. The show starts, and the host calls Hitler to the stage. The audience murmurs, unsure what to make of him, but when he locks eyes with them, the room falls silent. But Hitler doesn't read the script. He completely ignores the cue cards and goes rogue. He says he was supposed to tell a joke, but he is not going to. He declares that television is a great invention, but most of what is broadcast on it is utter nonsense. Clearly, he hadn't discovered prestige dramas yet. He pivots to a fiery speech about real problems like poverty and unemployment, forecasting that the country is sleepwalking towards an abyss. He vows to fight against this mindless entertainment until he succeeds, and the audience, they love it. They erupt in applause. The host is stunned, Bellini is thrilled, and Christoph is beside himself. His brilliant plan has backfired spectacularly. Bellini immediately orders Christoph to put Hitler on every show they have. He is a certified ratings machine. In the following days, Hitler becomes a media superstar, appearing on countless shows with his simple, powerful motto, to make Germany great again. This movie was way ahead of its time. His popularity explodes. He meets with party leaders and charms them all, his old ideas finding fertile new ground in the modern political landscape. In a moment of supreme irony, he visits the headquarters of a modern far-right party, the NPD, and proceeds to belittle their chairman for being ineffective. He tells them they've wasted decades and set the movement back with their clumsy efforts. Nobody does fascism like the original. Christoph's despair turns to glee when the police show up at the studio with a complaint against Hitler for violating hate speech laws. Christoph quickly suggests they might have to cancel the F.A. Rare show, but the district attorney says they can keep broadcasting, foiled again. Just then, Kromeyer hands Christoph a letter. It is a bill for the dog that Hitler shot on his road trip. Christoph grins. He finally has some real dirt. He arranges for Hitler to appear on a serious talk show, where the host grills him about his past, but Hitler just deflects, saying he wants to reach the people. The interviewer tells him his past deeds can't be justified, and then plays the clip of him shooting the dog. The audience is horrified. Hitler, enraged at being exposed, threatens the host on live television, saying he'll do the same to him, and turn the studio into a parking lot for tanks. The public backlash is immediate and severe. Christoph watches with delight as his plan finally succeeds. As a result, Bellini is fired, and Christoph is promoted to manager. Now a social pariah, Hitler goes to live with Fabian. He expresses amusement at the strange path of destiny, and starts writing his second book. The book, a modern sequel to his first, soon hits the market. 3 months later, the television station is in crisis, having lost a massive amount of money. Christoph, now feeling the pressure, learns his replacement comedy host has quit. Desperate, one of his staff suggests the unthinkable: get Hitler back. Swallowing his pride, Christoph seeks out Hitler and Fabian. He offers to invest €1 million in a movie about Hitler's journey in exchange for the broadcast rights. During pre-production, Hitler and Fabian visit their old assistant, Kromeyer, at her home, but her grandmother is there. The old woman recognizes him not as an actor, but as the man from her past. She accuses him of being the monster who killed her family. In the car, Hitler casually expresses his surprise that Kromeyer is a Jew and begins spewing his hateful rhetoric. For Fabian, this is a turning point. Back on the movie set, Fabian is trying to recreate the moment Hitler first appeared. He asks what happened right before the soccer ball appeared, but Hitler can't remember. Later that night, Hitler is walking off set when he is surrounded by neo-Nazi thugs, but instead of attacking him, they praise him and then knock him out cold. Hitler wakes up in a hospital, with Bellini by his side. At the same time, Fabian is re-watching his original soccer footage. He watches closely and sees something impossible. Just before he woke up, Hitler's body seems to materialize out of thin air from a scorched patch of ground. Fabian rushes to the location in the forest and finds a historical marker. He was lying on the exact location of the original F8 bunker. The horrifying truth dawns on him. He races to the hospital, but Hitler is already gone, headed to the movie set. Fabian desperately tries to explain to Bellini that this isn't an actor. This is the real Adolf Hitler, but she just thinks he's gone mad. As guards try to restrain him, he escapes and speeds towards the set, grabbing the prop gun on his way out. He confronts Hitler on set, gun aimed squarely at his chest. When Fabian demands he reveal his identity, Hitler calmly replies that he never claimed to be anyone else. Fabian screams that he's fooling everyone with his propaganda, to which Hitler retorts that the people willingly elected him in 1933 after he openly shared his ideas. Fabian forces Hitler to the rooftop, cornering him at the edge and declaring him a monster. Hitler claps back, saying that ordinary people chose an extraordinary man because deep down, they shared the same dark values he did. Enraged, Fabian pulls the trigger, but as Fabian looks down, he hears Hitler's voice right behind him, saying that no one can ever get rid of him. The man he just shot is standing there, perfectly fine. Just then, Bellini yells, "Cut!" The crew cheers. It was all a scene for the movie. The Fabian who shot Hitler was just an actor. And the real Fabian, we see him through a peephole, sobbing in a padded room in a mental ward. He knew the truth, and the truth drove him mad. The film is a massive success. Hitler and Bellini are celebrities, signing autographs and giving interviews, basking in the glow of their newfound fame. In the final, chilling scene, Hitler rides in a convertible through the streets. The crowds don't just recognize him, they adore him. They salute him with respect, their faces full of admiration. He has returned, not as a historical monster, but as a modern media sensation, ready to begin his work anew.